Very sad story from Fox's perspective. Cris Carter of FS1's hit show First Thing First alongside Nick Wright and company, he's out. A statement came out from Fox a couple days ago, pretty much confirming that Cris Carter will no longer be with the Fox family. Look, man, there are rumors circulating all over Fox that Cris Carter wanted to be in consideration for this new Thursday night football segment over at Fox, and reportedly he wasn't happy that guys like Tony Gonzalez got interviews and he wasn't in consideration. We don't know if that's 100% why Cris Carter's out, but there are reports surfacing that Cris Carter, the day he was let go, had to be escorted out of the building at Fox with security. Obviously, they shoot in New York, so it's a smaller office in their LA establishment, in their LA building. But this is bad, man. And you know, just speaking on that First Things First show, I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it by any means. It was they kind of teetered those lines of being a debate style show, but it really wasn't a lot of debate. More times than not, Nick and Colin agreed, and Cris agreed. And I felt like the difference between that show and Undisputed was I felt like Undisputed did a better job of driving personalities. Like if you look at Shannon Sharp, his loyalty is to LeBron James and his homeboy Patrick Mahomes. And you look at Skip, his loyalty is to guys like Tom Brady or Dak Prescott, or even now it looks like he's back on the Kawhi Leonard bandwagon. And you got Colin Cowherd, who's really great at radio and really good at those little cliche segments. So when you look around at, you know, First Things First, you got to ask yourself the question, what were they great at? You know what I mean? And Cris Carter is obviously a Hall of Fame wide receiver. He has experiences in conversations, especially when you got into those conversations about drugs and athletes. He can speak from experience. But overall, I just could never find out what was that show's niche. They were obviously trying to compete with ESPN's programming, their morning programming like Mike and Mike, which turned into the Wingo Show. And then you got Get Up over there at ESPN. The job of First Things First was to get you over to their big show on that network over there at FS1, which was Undisputed. That's their job, is to get as enough of an audience as they could to lead you off, to give you that handoff right off to Undisputed. That's what their job was. And I felt like they kind of struggled with kind of figuring out what the dynamic of the show was. Was it a debate show, or was it more like Mike and Mike, which you didn't need debate? It was just more or less catching you up on your morning drive. It just really felt like they never got their niche. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the decision to move on from Cris. I don't know if technically if he got fired or did he just walk out. All Fox said was they parted ways with Cris Carter and they're no longer going to be together. So we'll know more soon. And now I'm be honest with you, I'm curious to see who they get to go in that spot. I know Candy's been in the last few days since what was Chris's last day? October 29th, October 30th, somewhere around there. I'm curious to see who they get to replace that spot. I don't know who they're going to go get, but I do believe it needs to be a home run hire. Candy's good, but I would go someone with a bigger name. I think you could even go with lesser of an analyst or less of experience in whatever sport they go with, but a bigger name. They're probably going to stick in the football realm just because football takes up so much of the year, but I would go bigger name. I've heard Randy Moss's name. I heard Deion Sanders' name. Obviously, Randy's on another network, but if you could find a way to lure one of those two guys, I think that's the direction you go. Cris was never dedicated to debating. That's not his thing. And sometimes I feel like he talked over the talent, but nevertheless, he's a Hall of Famer and really good at what he does. I met Cris Carter when I worked at ESPN, and he also worked at ESPN. A good, solid man. Just a good, great man. And I hate this for him. So whatever pissed him off, trust me, it had to be a lot for him to step out of character the way that it seems like he might have did. I thank you guys so much for the time, love, support. I don't take it for granted. Salute. I'm out. You into sports, we got you. NFL news, I got you. NBA news, NBA highlights, NBA full coverage, feature stories, all that great stuff, I got you. We even got a little bit of Madden and 2K mixed in. Subscribe to this platform, and I got you. More quality content on the way. Subscribe.